first of the three main parties to publish their manifesto were the Liberal Democrats. Now, I'm not being too harsh on them, but not many people, particularly at this point in the campaign, expect the Liberal Democrats to win an outright majority in Parliament or for Jo Swinson, as a result, to become the Prime Minister. But they may well have an influence if we have a hung Parliament, if we have some form of coalition or a need for some kind of collaboration. They could have influence. Their manifesto is, of course, important to look at. And in relation to tax and the relevance to financial planning, that's what I want to look at now. So what did they say? First, personal taxes. They proposed a fairly simple 1% addition to all of the tax rates. More radically, they suggested that, in fact they proposed, that capital gains should be taxed in the same way as income, so just added together, not a special rate. And the annual exemption should be abolished and replaced with a de minimis £1,000 exemption. So they've drawn that, it seems, from the IPPR, the Institute of Public Policy Research, recommendations. On corporation tax, they were less radical than Labour ended up being and suggested that the rate should move upwards from 19% to 20%. I'm just going to remind myself of some of the other proposals that they had. They want to review the recent changes to the IR35 provisions on contractors and where the responsibilities should lie for determining the employment status of contractors. What else did they look at? They said nothing on inheritance tax, which is probably quite a good thing. So we see business as usual is their proposal there. They will encourage, rather like Labour, employers, large employers, to consider including employee ownership by giving staff in listed companies, that is those with more than 250 employees, the right to acquire and request that shares are held in trust for them. So again, more aligned to Labour proposals here than Conservative proposals, and to modernise the employment rights in the so-called gig economy, to look at a new dependent contractor status, which is more akin to an employee status, making sure that they have certain rights in relation to sick pay and pensions after a certain period of contracting with a particular employer. On social care, they seem to be very committed to a dedicated progressive health and care tax used to fund social care. On state pensions, as for all of the main parties, they suggest retaining the well-known triple lock and to appropriately compensate so-called WASPy women, those looking for compensation for women who had a delayed state pension age, those born in the 50s, actually. So when we look at all of that put together, we see a set of proposals that are far from radical, except in relation to capital gains, but much closer aligned to Labour Party proposals than Conservative proposals. As I said, on their own, they may well not be looked at as the tax future of a government, because it seems unlikely that we will have a LibDem majority, although of course these days you can't predict anything with absolute certainty. But it may well be that some of their thinking has an influence on whoever does win a majority, if that majority is not outright and cannot be had, essentially the majority, without the help of another party, if that other party are the Liberal Democrats.